Hey.
What's up,
Sorry,
Donald?
I'm 3 minutes late, guys. I apologize.
What's up, Raj? What's up, Rerun?
What's up, Rerun? What's up, Raj? How y'all doing? Who the hell is in fucking a war zone, a police war zone right now?
It is I, Zach Braff. I am in New York City, and there are a lot of police action and ambulance action and fire action. This is Manhattan, Donald.
What's going on, yo? Is there a fight?
No, Donald, you see, when you live in a very populous urban environment, the rescuers are often
Please,
doing
tell me
things.
about what it feels like to live in an urban environment.
Well, I do live in an urban environment, Donald.
And I would love to know what it feels like.
I know you, quote, grew up in Hell's Kitchen, but here in the Isle of Manhattan, I love it here. I don't want to come home. I got to come home for Krista's birthday party.
It's going to be so much fun, though.
I know it's going to be,
I'm
going to be excited for the party, but it's gorgeous here. It's literally 80 degrees. Everyone's chipper. It's sunny. Right, Daniel? You're here. How pretty is it?
It's gorgeous. It's hot.
It's gorgeous in LA right now, actually. It's got a nice little
but I'm
coolness
enjoying.
going.
I'm seeing a play
the pool
tonight.
is heated to a wonderful 95.
95? That's like a
Damn,
hot
that's
tub.
hot. Oh my God.
Lovely.
That's not a hot tub. That is far. You see how
You
the
got
black
some
people are
spoiled-
like lovely, wonderful. All the white people are like, that's too hot. I turn red in water like that.
You got some.
The
spoiled
blood
ass-
just gets to the front of the skin. You can see it pulsating.
You got some spoiled ass kids swimming in a 95-degree pool.
I hate to tell you this, bro, but
Go
you're
ahead.
right. Because my wife said the exact same thing. She was like, yo, listen, when I was a kid, the temperature was the temperature.
Yeah.
And we got in that shit. That's just how it was.
Yeah.
And I can attest
now
to
your
that.
kids
I
are
can
like-
attest.
And your kids are like, it's not heated.
That's me too, though.
Yeah, I get it.
I work
heat
hard for the money, y'all. Keep it 100.
I heat my pool too, but not the 95.
I work hard for the money, so you better treat a nigga right. I'm gonna fucking heat that thing up.
For the money. So hard for the money.
That's
He
right.
works hard.
So you better treat a nigga right.
I'm excited for Krista's party. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be everyone we know and love is going to be there. Sarah Chalk texted me. She's like, Krista's present is not going to be here in Canada on time. Is there a way I could send the present to your house so it'll arrive on, all flabbergasted?
What are you getting, Chris?
I didn't figure out a present for her yet. Have you?
It's hard, man. She's
It's
got
hard.
pretty much everything.
Well, you can't think of like a monetary thing because she don't need that. You have to think about something loving. Sentimental. I was going to have a picture of her blown up because she loves that. But I don't know. I've done that so many times. You guys have any ideas? Joelle, you're thoughtful.
Man, ladies in my life, I feel like I'm always getting them spa packages.
Spa package, good.
Does she like to ride horses?
She does. She does like horses. Well, you want to get her a horse? You want to split a horse with me?
How much would a horse cost us?
Horses cost any range. It's like a car.
Can we get a thoroughbred?
Well, that's going to be very expensive. I think that's like $250,000 for a thoroughbred.
Oh, well, let's.
I'm just
let's
pulling
not
that
get
out
a
of my.
thoroughbred.
I'm pulling that out of my butt, though. I don't really know the thoroughbred prices.
Because then she could enter it in races and make some money.
Hey, it's a thoughtful idea. So you're suggesting we buy her a thoroughbred, and we'll also need the trainers and all of the staff, and then we need a jockey, or maybe one of your kids could be the jockey because they're light.
They're very light.
And then,
According to the
we
internet,
could
a
say,
thoroughbred costs between $100,000 and $300,000 to purchase and $45,000 a year in expenses.
okay, well, it's a very thoughtful gift, Donald. But here's the thing: if it were to win prize money, we could tell her that here's the thing: we're spending so much money on this horse. Donald and I get to split the prize money.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's only fair, isn't it?
Yeah. So you're willing to lay out $250,000,
And then we get some of that money back, so we get the money all back.
So wait, let me just. I want to get the plan.
We get a
out
horse.
there. We're gonna get her a thoroughbred, and then we're gonna need to spend $45,000 a year. Joelle says, training and taking care of it, and then
We
but
get a
the
baby
deal-
one, so we can do the proper things that are needed for that thing to be like a.
Yeah, we'll probably get a discount if it's a baby, Joelle,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
No, I think breeding right out the gate is $100,000 to $300,000
because we need to be able to mud this bad boy. We need to be able to track this bad boy. All these things. I'm
and also maybe it could do. Yeah, well, maybe also if we're going to spend that much money, it could do chores around our yard. Like pull
a fucking
stuff.
a mower.
Help the. It could chew our grass. It could
maybe help plow.
Yeah, plow.
The little bit of grass that I have in my backyard.
I don't know how much plowing you're doing, but we would have a very nice horse to do the plowing.
Yes.
Joel,
not only a very nice horse. I don't know if it's equipped properly to do. I don't think the legs are strong. I think it's just equipped to run, right?
It might not be. It might be a waste of our money to buy a thoroughbred for plowing. I think you can get a plow horse for way cheaper, but Krista doesn't want a plow horse.
I don't think she wants a plow horse.
I like this.
Although
plan.
She can name it Daisy, because they have the long manes and the big Budweiser legs and shit like that.
Oh, that's a Clydesdale with Budweiser legs. All right, I like this plan. We've solved it. We were getting Krista a $250,000 thoroughbred horse
for her birthday.
She would love it. She would love it, by the way.
Hell yeah, she would love it.
And we would have so much fun. We could go to the track, you and me, and bet on it.
We could dress up in nice seersucker suits with the
Are we
little
allowed to
straw
bet
hats.
on our own horse? Are we allowed to bet on our own horse?
Hell yeah, that's how these motherfuckers get paid, dude.
Okay. Well, we're going to bet on our horse. Well, Krista's horse.
These things, you got to be allowed to bet on your own horse. There's no way.
The gaming commission will allow you to bet on your own horse.
Well, you can't bet against
it.
it.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
You can't bet.
I thought that was the whole point. You can't bet on your own horse.
I don't
you got to be able to bet on your own horse.
Is it just prize money that you get? Is that the idea?
Well,
like you lose the right to bet, but you get prize money. Maybe.
Well, it wouldn't be our horse. It would be Krista's horse.
Yeah, it's technically Krista's going to have the documents.
You're a friend of the horse.
Krista's going to have the documents.
You can't bet it across the board. So you can't bet on any horse in the race if you are actively in the race.
I can bet on Krista's horse. Sport. I can bet on Krista's horse.
We're not in the race. We're not in the race.
I'm going to bet on Krista's horse. Okay. Speaking of sports, Donald, I've been watching the Rangers, and it's really fun.
Have they won any game that you've been at?
You're a dick, A. And B, they won in Florida.
Were you at the game?
No, I was not in Florida.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're positing that I am bad luck for the Rangers?
You're bad luck for New York sports because you're bridge and tunnel, bro.
You're a dickhead.
Straight up.
I finally like a sport or two, and you got to come with the I'm bad luck.
Until you shake the bad luck, man, you are the cooler for all New York City.
Well, they got another game tonight in Florida.
Oh God!
I won't be there, dickhead.
That's good.
Florida.
That's good.
It's really fun once you get invested. I get it now, guys. It took 49 years, but I get it. Once you get invested, it's fun. I don't know that I would be. Well, I don't know that I would want to watch like regular season. To me, it's really fun when it's like, holy shit, they could win. It's all on the line. It's so exciting. And also going, I got to say, is a big difference.
Yeah, definitely going to the game is way different than watching it
I mean,
on
you
television.
know, because you said that last week. You said hockey games live are really fun.
You can see the puck.
You can see the puck.
How do we get into the show now that we're not watching a show now?
Well, we're going to
we have still
a guest.
5, 6, 7, 8?
Yeah, we do. We have a guest that's going to come on.
And is the theme song still going to be the same?
Yeah, we haven't changed the theme song, Donald. There's still going to be some stories about a show we made.
That's true. About a bunch of docs and nurses and a janitor who loves to hate.
Speaking of a janitor who loves to hate, Donald and I are going to be on a charity version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with Jimmy Kimmel.
It's not a charity version. It's a celebrity version, bro. And the money goes to charity.
Well, what's the difference? That's what I was saying.
A charity version sounds like it's done in like a community center gym.
It's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and Donald and I are on together, and our money will go to charity if we win. I mean, I
get the alligator question again.
I know. I don't. The problem with you and I on Celebrity Millionaires, we don't really know anything.
Well, I know that an alligator can climb a fence.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to come up on our second Celebrity for Charity game show experience.
Yeah, and that was a hypothetical question too. So like,
but bro, I'm not just being self-deprecating. We don't really know.
No, we
things.
don't. I don't. half the shit I talk to you guys about, I'm making up as I'm going.
I know, but I feel like you could do well on like 80s, 90s hip hop.
I could do well on pretty much all hip hop except for today's hip hop. I could do well with the Kendrick and Drake beef.
Anything but current hip hop, you would do well.
I would do well with the Kendrick and Drake beef. I could do
really?
well.
Do you think that's going to come up on Celebrity?
I mean, it might be like how did it start? It might be it might be like
so Jimmy Kimmel will be like Kendrick Lamar and the rapper Drake are in a battle. What is it about? Is it A? That kind of thing.
Yeah, and we would totally get that one.
We would get that. You know the whole story. You know the whole trajectory, the whole story.
I know some of the story.
Is it over?
I mean, pretty much.
No, I just wondered if there were. They're both nodding.
Yes, it's over.
It's over. Okay,
yes,
it's been finished.
Oh, because of Kendrick's track was so fire that it was over.
They Not Like Us is one of the. It seems like it's a world anthem right now.
People are playing it all over the world.
That video you sent to the group chat, Zach, was hilarious.
I sent the group audience.
My God.
My nephew sent me this. It's a compilation of reaction videos to people listening to that track for the first time.
I loved that.
It was pretty funny. People go crazy.
Shit said.
I wish I had seen your guys' reaction videos.
I lost where everybody loses it. I think everybody lost it at A minor. I think A minor is one of the most classic lines. I think everybody lost it at A minor. I think universally, when he goes and it's probably A minor, everybody went, oh,
they not like
fuck.
us. They not like us.
And then he holds it for a few bars.
What does that mean? They not like us?
Because they not like us, bro. It's just
that's
that
y'all
simple.
over there. You're not one of us.
They not like us. Dog, you could say that. Anybody could say that shit. They not like us, yo. That's what it's a fucking anthem, dude. They not like us. Anybody, I don't give a fuck who it is. They not like us.
Go ahead, Daniel.
I was going to say specifically the song is about how fake Drake is. Like he calls him a colonizer at one point. So you say you're a colleague, but really you're a colonizer. It's like he's just, you are not one of us.
I see.
And I think one of us is a rapper in this particular context. I mean, it's in general, you are not like us, but in this particular context, that's how I took it at least.
Sure. They not like us. That's the literal version. But the Kendrick version is the whoever you talking to. When they not like us, bro. What do you mean? You not like me? They not like us. None of these motherfuckers is like us, Zach.
About how, Drake is a club rapper, whereas Kendrick is more like about the people, making them think, as opposed to like, you're just over here making people dance. There was a whole conversation about Drake, you're from Canada. Your experiences are different than.
Well, yeah, those are like I said, those are the exact metaphors of what he means by it. But as an anthem for the world, all it means is whoever your ops is, whoever your adversary is, they not like you. And that's all it means.
It is pretty amazing.
Like
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. This is going to sound very naive, but traditionally, Drake isn't from a traditional environment for that the most popular rappers come from, right? Because he's Canadian and he was a child actor, right?
That's not. You could be a child actor and you could be a Canadian rapper and all of that stuff. The argument is your lingo, the way you're talking. You didn't have the struggles that Americans had.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Your struggle is a lot different. You can't really say nigga because your ancestors, or, for the most part, you don't come from, your culture didn't teach you about slavery and America and 400 years and all of that shit. You're claiming all of this American violence and stuff, but dog, you're from Canada. And
if I'm correct,
the violence in Canada ain't really that high. So how are you claiming all of this tough guy shit? What you really should stick to this is all Kendrick speaking. What you really should stick to is making people dance. You're really good at that shit, dude. You write great songs with you and your ghostwriters. You guys write some fucking dope shit. Stick to that.
Daniel, your thoughts on that?
This hard shit ain't you, bro.
I don't disagree with what Donald said, but he's just saying exactly what you said. Yes, Drake does not come from the traditional background of...
Yeah, so you're agreeing with what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yes.
But you're saying also that, like, Kendrick is fine with Drake being like a club party rapper. He's just saying don't try and act like you're
don't try to imitate American violence, dog, because you're not from it.
Got it.
You don't know it. You're portraying something that you don't know.
They not like us.
They not like us.
I got it. Well, I'm so glad that I'm not in a rap beef because I'm too sensitive.
I'm too
sensitive.
Like, I remember when Nick Cannon was like, you should come on Wildin' Out. And in my mind, all I could think of was the rap battle at the end. I'm way too sensitive for that shit.
No, I'm too sensitive.
I was like, I'm good, bro.
I watched the Tom Brady roast and I was like, that would fuck me up for a year.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I can't watch.
It fucked Tom Brady up. Tom Brady's walking around fucked up.
But he got $25 million to be dissed.
Regardless, he's sitting there like,
the pain.
Well, did it ease his kids' pain? Because I know his kids are hurting.
Oh, really? Why? You think they watched it? They didn't watch it.
He made a statement about how
everybody on the planet watched that shit. Everybody on the planet, and he did make a statement about it.
Oh, really?
Everybody on the planet watched it.
He's the one. What did he think was going to happen if you take $25 million for comics to make fun of you?
It's like being a mom of 6 and being a person in the community and thinking that you could get away with doing porn and nobody fucking finding out, dude. Like, you're throwing yourself on Front Street when you do that shit. And he was standing there in front of everybody, butt naked, ready to get smacked.
Yeah. He probably didn't think as bad as it was going to be in his mind. It was probably way worse.
He just don't know about Nikki Glaser. That's all. He
must have said to his kids, I'm sorry you're upset. I'm sorry you're upset. Well, I got 25 million. So after taxes, let's say I got 13. What do you guys want with it?
They'll be like, my dignity, Dad. I want my dignity back, Dad.
I
went to school and everybody at school said that my mom is fucking her judo instructor.
Is it Taekwondo?
Whatever it is.
Is it judo or Taekwondo?
I don't know. Whatever.
I don't even know what that story is. She had an affair with the martial arts teacher. I mean, I gleaned from watching the roast that she must have. They not like us. They not like us.
They not like us.
So do you want to talk about areas of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire that we're strong in? I think debating the merits of La La Land, if that comes up.
I'm really good at that.
Yeah, we'll crush that.
I think I could totally crush that.
Joelle and Daniel, what do you think areas of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire are areas that Donald and I would do well in?
Let me just ask you this.
Hip hop, except for current day. La La Land.
Planes, cameras, musical theater, golf, basketball.
But Donald could do video games.
Star Wars video games.
Donald, will you be able to do current day video games?
Some of them. All the current day video games are like 5 years old.
What else can I tell you? I'm seeing a play
Have
tonight.
you seen any movies?
You know what I saw, which I really liked, is Challengers.
Okay, so you liked it.
Yeah, you didn't like it.
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard every opinion. I've heard every opinion, and it's making me want to see it more.
No, I recommend it. I got to say, it's the new movie with Zendaya, Donald. She plays
where she did the menage, the devil's threesome.
That's very much no spoilers, but that's way more hyped for marketing than is the point of the movie.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
Are you fucking kidding me?
They sold you a bill of goods.
What do you think it was going to be a porn?
Everybody's like, Zendaya's in a freaking.
It's about a love triangle. I'll just say it's about a love triangle. It's not really about an orgy.
I'm not happy about this now.
I gotta say, when I started,
it was gonna be something.
I did think it was gonna be a more risque film than it is because that's how they marketed it. But I think it's really well done, and the actors are all great, and I recommend it.
Does she look like she could play tennis?
Yeah, they are all cut very well to make them look good. I don't know what their skill level is, but they clearly knew how to hit a forehand and serve, and then they add the sound effects, and then they clearly cut lots of cuts to make it
continental grip.
I couldn't tell. I'm pretty sure what they do a lot of the times is they just don't have the ball in. So if you got a perfect stroke, and then you put a CGI ball in, and just make it go fucking so fast, it really sells the hell out of it. So I'm sure that they trained their asses off. And got
on how to look like they can hit,
and how to sell it, And then so many of the shots, if you know what you know, you can see that it's a CGI ball. So they just like they add all the speed, and then of course the
that
sound
would be
to
a
it.
really smart thing to do for golf movies. Then instead of putting the ball there and making these actors actually hit the fucking golf ball,
That's what we did for Joey King. That's what we did for Joey King in my movie. We may have cut the scene. Oh, I forgot. No, it's in. I think it's in. I think there's a shot of it in the movie. But poor Joey, she trained a lot to be able to pitch a softball, and she got pretty good for someone that was training, for like a month from scratch. But then on the day we go to shoot it, and she's doing it in front of a girls' softball team, and she got in her head, and understandably. And they weren't good at all. And then I realized, like, why are we even doing this? Just take out the ball. And so she just did the motion perfectly looking. And then in post, we put in the fastest fucking softball you've ever seen. And it was perfect.
Yeah. That's all you got to fucking do, bro. I'm telling you. That's a great fucking idea.
That's
all
definitely
these
what
golf
they do.
movies for not necessarily basketball, or football, but for movies where you got to make baseball, where the contact is so important, just have them swing their normal swing with nothing there.
Yeah.
And then put that shit in post. It'll look way better than them actually trying to fucking hit
and
a ball.
Cool. And what's cool too, in Challengers, what's cool too is they put the camera in a place they get these incredible shots because it's right on the net, right? And so if you have a CGI ball, it's going right by the lens because you can put the ball wherever you want,
Yeah.
So if you've got them doing their perfect stroke, then you can have the ball just go like inches by the lens perfectly every time. Cool.
So it's kind of like Star Wars in a lot of ways.
Oh, Jesus. How could it possibly be like Star Wars?
Well, it's laser blasters going at lightsabers and pretending that you're blocking shit, and you're not really blocking anything, and you're not really holding anything. But if your form
or do not.
That's right. There is no try. If your form looks great,
right?
That shit looks dope. Like Ahmed Best comes back in Star Wars in the Boba Fett series or the Mandalorian series, and he fucking holds lightsabers. And because he's a dancer and a martial artist, his form is so sick. This motherfucker's an action star. I don't know what the fuck George Lucas was thinking back. I love George Lucas. I love you to death, sir.
He doesn't listen to the podcast, though.
George Lucas totally listens to this fucking podcast.
Joel, we should book a Mod Best because I would like to talk to him about this journey that he went on. First of all, we went to the same high school, Columbia High School. Yes, with Lauryn Hill. But I don't think Lauren's going to come on the show. But I would like to get a Mod Best.
I will ask him.
Because I would like, Don, wouldn't you like to chat with him about this whole journey from like...
Well, he wrote a book about it.
Well, then he can plug his book because I want to know about all the shit that he took for just accepting a role and how that impacted his life.
Dude, you know what's crazy is that, the journey is so fucking long. And some of us, some people decide to get off the train before their time and stuff like that. But it's so long, and sometimes the reward is great, and sometimes it's not. That's just what life is. But you know what? The journey is the most important part. And I don't know, man. I'm really excited to not to finish my journey, but to continue this journey that we've started with this show. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's ahead of us. I don't know what we've got coming, but this could be something special. Again,
it is.
Mm-hmm.
It is going to be something special. The journey keeps going. We're working on I'm flying back not just for Krista's party, but for another secret project with Donald.
Holy shit, we're doing secret things again.
That's what I'm talking project. About. Another one.
Fucking journey.
Another one.
The fucking journey, Zach. Fucking journey.
I need another one in my sound machine. Another one. Another one. You could put it where this one is.
Eat these balls, Zach. But are you gonna get DJ Khaled?
Yeah, we'll just rip it. Another one. I don't think he'll mind.
I can do that.
We have Deren Bagsby, an incredible surgeon, on the show today, who's going to tell us something he did that was pretty miraculous. And also, he's a very sweet gentleman, and he's a real surgeon. Donald.
And his fucking name is real too, people. That's his actual name, Deren Bagsby.
So count us in, baby girl.
Joel?
No, that's you.
Oh, I'm baby girl?
Yeah.
I'm baby girl. Got it. 5, 6, 7, 8
stories about a show we made about a bunch of docs and nurses and a janitor who loved to hate. I said he's got stories that you all should know. So gather round to hear our Scrubs Rewatch show with Zach and Donald.
There he
Deren Bagsby.
Daren Bagsby.
Zach's learning these chants now because he's going to freaking sports games.
Yes, I've been attending Rangers games, so I know things like Daren Bagsby, da 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 da. You know, up in MSG, they got a real organ player. Some people think that that's just like canned music. No, there's a real dude up there playing the organ.
Really?
You didn't even know that. You didn't know that, Donald.
I did know that, bro.
No, you didn't.
I've known that my whole life.
It's the same dude for like 35 years. I saw a whole video on him.
My guy, I've known it since I've been going to basketball games.
Don't my guy me. Please don't my guy me.
Well, don't say some dumb shit then, and I won't say dumb shit then.
I don't like my guy or my dude.
And I don't like you trying to act like I don't know nothing about sports, bro.
You know, I love Mark Cuban so much, but on an episode of Shark Tank, he said my guy, and it really hurt my feelings because I was like, not you too, Mark. Not you too.
I think everybody uses it as a condescending, at least I do, as a condescending tone, as a condescending way to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, my let's focus on Dr. Bagsby's here. I'm sure that.
Sorry,
I think it's very condescending.
I do too.
Yeah.
I bet you that when Dr. Bagsby is about to operate on a patient, he's like, "All right, here we go. Go under, my guy."
Yep.
You're going under, my guy. You're going under, my guy.
I'll see you in 4 hours, my guy.
It'll feel like.
Go ahead, Daren.
Only when I operate in New Jersey.
Yeah. Daren, we met Daren, Dr. Daren Bagsby, because he donated to a charity for wounded warriors that Jake Tapper, the CNN anchor, hosts. And Daren, tell us how you came to do that. You were telling Donald and I on a Zoom we did together that you decided to treat your friends to some things. That was related
the money
to
that you made for
the amount of surgeries you were doing.
Yeah. So first off, I love Wounded Warriors. I work in Fayetteville, North Carolina, where Fort Bragg is. We take care of a huge veteran population, and so that's a wonderful cause. But essentially, with this new job, I am very, very busy. We're a very underserved part of the state. The statistics say that we should have between 17 and 22 orthopedic surgeons for our area, and we have 10. So we all have to work very, very hard. And so in the month of October leading up to your donation, I ended up doing about 3,000, almost 3,000 units of work in 1 month, where the average orthopedic surgeon does about 10,000 units in a year.
Oh my God.
So
when you say units, what is that to the layman? What does that mean? That's a procedure?
No. So every procedure has a set of units assigned to it. They're called RVUs, or work value unit, relative value units. But basically, so like a small surgery, a carpal tunnel, is worth 5. A big surgery like a knee replacement is worth 20. A huge surgery like a spinal fusion is worth 50.
Oh, wow.
And so someone came up with all of this well before my time, but it's a way to kind of gauge, allow for a standardization of how much work you're putting in.
Right, because how do you measure that as a surgeon? Like, you know, how do you compare and contrast the amount of work you're
right? And so we're not like lawyers where we bill by the hour. It's based on how many surgeries we do, how many patients we see. And so this is a way to kind of standardize everything. Now, if you're really good at what you do and you can do a knee replacement in 45 minutes and you're versus somebody who's really bad who takes 2 hours, you still get paid the same amount. It's still the same number of units.
Got it. So is it for you guys, was it like, speed dating pretty much then, where you were like,
It was a very busy month. There were some weekends, there were some long nights.
Working weekends, really?
Oh yeah. I do about one weekend a month. We break it up. So you either work Friday, Sunday, or you work all day Saturday.
Can we talk about the people that you're doing the surgery on?
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm in kind of semi-rural North Carolina. We have a huge veteran population. I do mainly joint replacement, so hip and knee replacement, and then fracture work, so people with broken bones. And we're very busy just because we're a very populated area. And then we also have one of the major highways that connects Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, one of the most populated areas in North Carolina, to the beach. So people drive through our area along the major interstate, and heaven forbid they have an accident, they usually end up coming to us.
Oh, wow. So you do a lot of broken trauma stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get called in even when you're not working because they're like, we got a really bad case?
Yeah, so I am the only person for about 3 or 4 counties that does really complicated hip and knee replacement. So if you have a knee replacement and you break it, if you have a hip replacement and it's infected, all that stuff comes to me. And so I do a lot of that stuff that traditionally hasn't been done in our area. It would have to go to one of the big centers like Duke or UNC. But that's my specialty, is the really, really complicated stuff. So like today, before the call, we had a lady who had an infected knee replacement that had to come out, and an antibiotic knee replacement put in to treat her infection. And then the other one that we did was a lady who had a second time knee replacement with a really long rod that went down her shin bone, and she fell and she broke right below that. So normally when you break your shin bone, we put a rod in there to stabilize it. Well, she already had stuff in place, so we had to use a plate and screws. We couldn't put the screws through the rod she has in place, so then we have to use these big metal zip ties to kind of buckle the plate in place. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so it was a tough one.
Aren't these people in so much pain after you've gone in there with your screws and your zip ties?
Well, broken bones hurt. I mean, anybody who's broken a bone will tell you that hurts. And so the screws and the plate and thing help to stabilize things, so those edges aren't rubbing up against one another. But the trauma's hard because your goal is to get people back to where they were beforehand. But depending on the injury, that might not be possible. That's why I love joint replacement, because we take people who have spent years and years of arthritis, just kind of losing their mobility over time. And we, replace things and get them back to where they were a long time ago. And so it's really rewarding. I love what I do. I'm very grateful to be able to do it. But it's really enjoyable to, get people functioning again.
Why are there only 10 of you? How come there's not more? You said there's supposed to be 30 of you, right?
Yeah. I think Raleigh is a much fancier place to live. We're a little bit more rural. That's a little bit harder to recruit to. We're kind of in between the big city and the beach, and so people choose one of those two things. It's hard. I mean, and just in general, all of medicine is underserved. COVID really changed that. Not unlike, military people dropped off after 2001. They weren't able to recruit as well. And I think, all sectors of healthcare, be it nurses, PAs, assistants, all of that, the staffing is just continues to be a problem.
And that's because of COVID, you think? People were like, had enough?
Turned off.
Yeah. I mean, we lost a lot of people to retirement. I think the incoming people weren't nearly as great. And then, just the demands are rising, right? Patient population's getting older. Older people break their bones more easily because they're more fragile. Older people have more arthritis. They have more torn tendons that need shoulder surgery. They have more, of everything. And so, but the number of medical schools is staying the same. The number of orthopedic residencies is staying the same. And so we just don't have that increase. And then here in North Carolina, there's a very interesting set of laws where it's called Certificate of Need, where hospital systems can't just build rooms and ORs and facilities if they want to. They have to go to the state government and get a permission slip called a Certificate of Need that says, oh yeah, we think there's enough need in that area for you to build more stuff.
Wow.
So it slows things down, particularly from 2020 to 2022, where government officials weren't in the office. All that stuff slowed down. And so growth, I think, slows down a little bit too.
Was Raleigh, North Carolina, was that area hit hard with COVID?
We were very busy. I worked over 2 different hospital systems, both of which, I think at one point we had 117% capacity. So like every bed in the hospital was full, plus you had all of the beds in the ER were full. And so we were, we had surges like everywhere else. My community did a pretty good job of getting the elderly vaccinated. We were one of the best counties in the state, but unfortunately for people who were 30 and under, we were one of the worst.
Wow.
How long does it take to do a knee replacement?
For me, it takes about 45 minutes.
Wow. She. I don't know.
I've done a couple, so it makes it a little bit faster.
So you just kind of speed through it. What do you play? What do you play in the OR?
Welcome to the jungle. You got fun and games. History.
Yeah,
it's got to be peppy for sure. It has to be peppy. No, I mean, it takes me as long as it takes me. I mean, we don't dilly dally. We try to get people in and out of the operating room because the longer you're under anesthesia is never a good thing. The longer your wound is open, the higher your risk of infection. And so,
Listen,
I just do a lot of them.
Last time I went under, it was for a colonoscopy, and I got to tell you, Doc. I wish they had put me under before I went in the room because they were manhandling me and I wasn't out yet. And they were just treating me like a piece of meat.
I always do wonder that. I do wonder because there's no cameras that I know of in the OR.
There's only one camera and it's going inside.
And it's going in your ass, right? But like, I wonder if that's what it is. I wonder if it's like freaking, you get roofied and then they just freaking flip your ass over and then
that's kind of what happened. Listen, that's kind of what happened, Donald. I remember getting a little Twilight something, a little, I don't know what you call it. Yeah, a little Versed. Ooh, that's the good stuff. Versed. That's what makes you feel like good. And I didn't get enough Versed this time because they were just manhandling me and putting me in position for the camera and they're all talking and I was like, shouldn't I be under already? Because I don't really
You weren't under yet?
No.
Well, you can ask Michael Jackson. That medicine has some risk to it, so we try not to knock.
What's it called?
Propofol,
right? Yeah. So we try not to knock people out before it's like ready time. But yeah, there's definitely a gray zone in there where you have to you want people to be comfortable.
I felt like I saw like when you go to a nice restaurant and it's so beautiful and the lighting's perfect and it's romantic. And then you go to the bathroom and you pass like the brightly lit, kitchen and all the mayhem behind the scenes. I felt like I was behind the scenes. I was seeing stuff I wasn't supposed to see. You know what I mean? The Versed, I think they skipped the Versed.
Yeah.
I would have liked it.
That's funny.
I'd ask I remember when I got my colonoscopy, I asked straight up, I was like, you tell me when it's going in.
You wanted to ride it out. Donald wanted to fight it. Donald wanted to fight it and ride it.
I want to see if I can ride this shit. He was like, oh, really? I was like, yes. He was like, you're not going to be able to do it. I was like, yes, I am.
Did 10, you win?
9. And then I was waking up. Wake up.
Yeah, so nice. That Versed, I wish I could ride it too. Because you're like, whoo, it feels nice.
And then you're gone. And then you're out.
People say some stuff as they're riding the Versed to sleep. It can be interesting.
I know.
Like, okay, Doc. You brought it up. Like,
I was coming out of I had hernia surgery, and I remember waking up from that, and I just couldn't stop talking. And the doctor told me when I was a little more. Well, I said some really embarrassing shit. I remember saying it, but I couldn't stop saying it. And later he told me that it's what the CIA used to use, what they call truth serum, because people just they can't stop talking and they just start saying shit. And I was like, I remember being like, this is so embarrassing, but I remember being like, Doc, seriously, like your friends and my friends, like we should all get together and you should bring some of this stuff. Like, I remember being like, Doc, have you ever done ecstasy? Because this is like this is kind of like ecstasy, but it's better. It's like we need to hang out. And he was laughing in my face, and but I couldn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
Have you experienced that?
I've had a couple of people say some stuff. I had one lady who got incredibly graphic with the more than a little bit of a crush she had on me. And so unfortunately I was not able to see her back. One of my assistants had to see her for all of her follow-up because I was very uncomfortable. She ruined the relationship. Yeah. She took it a little too far.
I'm so
it
glad
wasn't her though, Doc. It was the propofol.
It was the propofol, but
I'm so glad
it doesn't make new thoughts. It just lets those thoughts out.
I know that's why they call it truth serum, because I did want to party with the doctor and his friends in this drug. I was being truthful.
That would be embarrassing. Yeah, that's tough, man. I remember waking up and then being like, it's over, and me being like, 5 more minutes, dude. Just 5 more minutes.
You just on the snooze button?
Yeah, is there a way
That's what happened to Michael Jackson, dude, because he fucking used it to sleep.
Well, no, he also had a freaking doctor who wasn't the correct person to administer.
Well, I don't think you're supposed to be giving it to anyone for nightly sleep, right, Doc?
Yeah.
No, but I
would strongly caution taking that in your house.
He wasn't even an anesthesiologist, though, to do.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it was all shady. We know that. Can I ask you something that's way below your pay grade, but tennis elbow?
Mm-hmm.
How do I solve
it? It sucks a lot.
I've got really bad tennis elbow. I think not playing tennis. I think from weightlifting, I was doing chin-ups.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how it happened. And now I just had my first PT appointment, but I was wondering if I'm sure there's plenty of people listening that suffer from this. If you have any advice.
Yeah, so the stretching exercises they're showing you, where you really stretch that tendon group out, is really important. Sometimes if it gets really bad, they can put a little shot in there of some medicine to try to knock down some of the inflammation. There's a little strap that provides kind of a counter pressure.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That can be nice. When you're doing your workout stuff, trying to keep things close to your body. So instead of doing the big wide shoulder flies where it's way out, you can't see this on the camera, where it's way out here, try doing it with a bent elbow, because it'll take that pressure off right there. I get this from operating all the time because we use this big electric cheese grater to put in hip replacement parts. It's like a big drill, and I have to hold it like this. And so I'm really squeezing, and it puts a lot of stress there. It's probably the most frustrating problem you can have with your elbow. But that stretching will really help, not only help it go away, but you want to make that kind of like brushing your teeth, like a maintenance program. Because once you've had this once, you're more likely to get it again.
How long does it take to go away? I read on the interwebs like 8 weeks.
Yeah, it can be a while. Mine took like 6 months because I was operating every single day. This is when I was in training. And so I never I would operate from 7 to 2, and then I go to the gym from like 3 to 5. And so I just never let it relax. But the stretching is really the only way to truly fix it.
Did you feel that Scrubs was accurate about the portrayal of surgeons being stereotypically more jockish and
So I think you guys did a great job. I think Donald's speech in season 1 about competition and how that leads you into that is one of the most underrated scenes in the whole show. My only major complaint was your orthopedic surgeon was the weirdest human being on the entire show. The Sensi. He was so weird and so kind of off into a different direction. And orthopedic, you guys had it right at the beginning of the episode. Orthopedic surgeons are the most jockish of the jockish. We're the middle school football players of medicine.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
It's a fair question. I mean, orthopedics, I think, is a lot of ex-athletes that have had injuries that find it interesting. A lot of orthopedics is very physical. When I do a knee replacement on someone in North Carolina, the legs down here are a little different than the legs you guys have in California. And so you need that physicality when two bones are sitting opposed and all the muscles of someone's leg are holding them in that position, and you have to overpower that to put it back where it's supposed to be. That takes physicalness. And so I think if you don't enjoy being physical like that, it might not be the right specialty for you.
My orthopedist in LA is ripped too. I don't think I've ever seen a non-ripped orthopedist.
They exist, but I think it definitely lends itself to people who like being physical because it's a very physical job. That's what I like about it.
Right.
What about your feet? You're always on your feet, dude. Like I'm an animator. I'm always on my feet at the table and I'm doing stop motion animation. What advice do you have for people who are on their feet all day? Because this is something that I didn't realize if you're standing long enough, you could really fuck your back up. I thought that was the way to get your back straight and all of that.
What about one of those cushions that people stand on?
Yeah, I mean those for Donald that would probably work. In the OR, you don't want that because then all the blood and the goo soaks into it and it gets kind of nasty. Yeah. But it's interesting. People think, oh, you're standing all day, you're being very active, but standing in one spot very still is not being active. But I think having a great pair of shoes is super important. I change out my OR shoes every 6 to 12 months just because they get so much wear on them. I really like compression socks and shirts and pants or like kind of under my scrubs to help with that kind of stagnant blood flow. I think it makes a big difference. So
Donald could wear compression socks.
Mm-hmm. And then the other thing I do is, one of the things I like about my stuff is, like I said, we're surgery takes 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. It's not like some 6-hour spine, little tiny movements, standing very. I couldn't handle that. And so, I get to move around a little bit more than the average person. But I mean, the stop motion, you're making those tiny movements and the resetting.
You can't move. And it's very similar. I don't have a steady hand like you. Like I drop a lot of shit sincerely. You're not in a business where you can afford to drop a scalpel into somebody.
Drop a knee.
But making sure the table's up to the correct height so you're not slunching over. Yeah. I think that will make a big difference.
I've lifted the table up pretty high. It's at the point where my hands are literally like this when I'm animating and stuff.
I think that makes a big difference.
Well, Doc, thank you for coming on. We just wanted to introduce you to our audience because
we thought you were so cool.
You're a very impressive man. And Donald and I have never done 3,000 units of surgery.
Well,
so far.
Yet. Maybe in the reboot.
Yeah, in the
reboot.
Maybe. If there's a reboot, we'll have to do an episode where Donald has to do 3,000 units of surgery. The funny thing about scrubs is that one thing I noticed is that Donald just does all surgery. Like he doesn't have any specialty. He just does all.
Yeah, I think that's very common in the TV shows. People do a little bit of everything. But I mean, it's nice because you can have one character show a little bit of everything. I mean, you guys were really far ahead of the game with the whole cold therapy for spinal cord injuries. Like that was very controversial at that time. And if he just stuck to belly stuff, you wouldn't be able to do that storyline. And so I think that's part of the reason the TV surgeons do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I noticed that too, though. Yeah. There was an episode where someone was getting a breast augmentation. It was like the Todd and Turk were doing it. It was like, what? Don't they have any specialty at all?
But also and they weren't in a plastic surgeon's office. They were at a hospital. It wasn't like Cedars. They were at like a teaching hospital. So there's I don't know.
We got a lot right though. Dr. Bagsby, didn't we get a lot right though?
Yeah, I mean, looking back on after rewatching during this time, like I told you guys, I've watched it a couple of times. What amazed me was you guys in 2001 started talking about people misusing narcotics. Like you were so far ahead of what anybody was thinking about at that time, with that girl you were dating, Alex, who stole the Percocet from the hospital, and then you had Sandy, the guy who came in and played everybody for drugs. Yeah. I mean, that was really, really early in that narcotics time. Those storylines now would be so expected and understood, but back then they were, you think about it, like they had that discussion about, JD and Alex about, the taking that medicine. Like nowadays, that's like straight to prison. Like there's no, like if JD doesn't report that, he goes straight to prison. Like there's no tolerance for that stuff. But
I do want to ask you about the opiates, Dr. Bagsby. How how do you make sure, like you're doing very dramatic things to someone's body. How do you make sure that they aren't in pain whilst also ensuring they don't get addicted to these drugs like Oxy?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, there's definitely a balance there. I mean, part of getting a knee or a hip replacement is you have to get up, you have to do the rehab. And we have people getting up the same day. And so you can't do that if you're utterly miserable. And so one of the things, we've done is kind of like Donna was talking about, that pendulum swung way in one direction where it was just throw narcotics at them and they'll get better, and throw long Oxycontin at them and they'll get better. And then we've realized that is a really bad idea. And so now we're swinging back the other direction. And the goal is to use things that aren't narcotics. So all of my patients are on aspirin, Tylenol, and Celebrex, which is like a prescription strength ibuprofen, round the clock before they ever take a narcotic. Like you have to take all three of those first.
Before you can sit there and say
before you can ask for anything more. And then we use, kind of mild pain medicines like tramadol. We do injections all around where we're working with numbing medicines, anti-inflammatory medicines. The anesthesia doctors are getting better about putting numbing medicines around the big nerves around the knee to kind of numb them up before you even get started, so those nerves don't get a chance to overreact because they're numb during the surgery. We do the same thing with numbing medicine in your back to make your legs fall asleep versus those old tube down your throat anesthesia forms. And then just getting up and moving around, right? Anybody who's had an injury, the more you sit, the stiffer and sore and weaker you get, and then that just compounds the pain. And so certainly it's not pain-free.
Yeah, I'd be so afraid if I had something happen to me like that, all these Oxy horror stories.
Well, it took down the king and it took down the prince. Let's put it that way. It took down the king and it took down Prince.
Well, I do think that's really helped. I mean, you people talk about these medicines are not benign. You need to be careful. You need to watch out. You have to use them judiciously. There has been some good legislature that's helped us with that. In North Carolina, we can only write 7 days at a time. Whereas my wife had a minor foot surgery and the guy sent her home with 90 oxycodones because he didn't want any calls for refills. And she used 3. So, yeah.
And so what happens to what happens to those 90s? A responsible person says,
his wife sold them, obviously.
Right.
Yeah, we had big medical school debt. So, yeah. But no, and the other dangerous things is, we at that time didn't have kids, but we have a daughter now. One of the biggest issues is people get into mom and dad and grandma and grandpa's medicine cabinets, and that's where they get their first exposure to this stuff.
Yeah. I was about to say, when I was a kid, I went through my parents' medicine cabinets, and thank God I didn't kill myself with the shit that I was taking.
What did they have?
I don't know what they had. I was just experimenting with the fucking
Valtrex?
pills.
That's not going to kill you.
Well, I don't think Valtrex existed, Ben.
I'm just kidding.
But I could have taken my mom's birth control and not known. You know what I mean? Like, just
thinking you were getting high, snorting your mom's birth control.
Donald's cholesterol was really, really good.
I had great cholesterol.
Yeah, amazing for a child.
I also could have birthed a child because the estrogen in my system was.
All right, Doc. That's all the time we have. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for doing what you're doing.
But when we did our thing the other time, and Daniel can cut this if he needs to, but I have a very serious question for Donald. So I purchased, based on your recommendation, a Helix sleep mattress for my home and for my call room. And I want to know, and Daniel can cut this, did you dupe me or do you actually use that?
I believe in it. Listen, here's the thing.
Do you?
So here's the thing. My kid has my mattress and his bed is the most comfortable bed in the house. And so I have hit up Joelle over and over, my wife and I, over and over again. Get Helix back. This is going to be, I'm going to use this actually. Get Helix back on the phone. We need another mattress because it actually is a very, very comfortable.
Do you like it?
I agree. I strongly like it. And but I thought about that. I was like, I bought this just because I needed a new mattress, and I was listening to the podcast, and I was like, well, they recommended it, and I used codes Real Friends for 20% off and 2 free pillows. Yeah, and yeah, but I was curious, Donald, and I wanted to ask you that.
Donald loves it, but his kids, we didn't get on earlier when we were talking about how he heats his pool to 95 degrees. His kids are so spoiled that he got the most insane Helix mattress that he promptly gave it to his son.
When I was a kid, I didn't have a lot of shit, and so now that I can get things, I spoil my children with those things. Is it healthy? Probably not. No. Is it gonna fuck them up? Probably. But guess what? At the end of the day, they're my kids, and fuck off everyone else.
On that note, Dr. Bagsby, thank you so much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Wonderful. Thank you for having me on. It was wonderful.
Our pleasure.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for coming on. That was great. I like Dr. Bagsby.
I told you.
He's a very impressive guy.
He is,
banging out knee surgeries in 45 minutes. How long does it take you, Donald?
To bang out a knee surgery?
Yeah, bang out a replacement.
It takes me to bang out a replacement? Shit.
Yeah.
I haven't banged out a replacement in a while because I've been married, so there's no...
Oh, banged out a replacement. I get it. Well, I feel like one area we would do well on Millionaire now is knee replacement surgery.
Well, we know about units.
Yeah, we know about units. If they're like, how do they measure the time of a doctor in surgeries? Units, Jimmy. Units.
Final answer.
We
got to have a meeting.
Yeah, we got to have a meeting.
To say...
A whispered meeting. Like they do on Shark Tank when they're deciding between which deal to take. They turn to each other and they cover their lips.
Yeah, so that the audience doesn't know what we're going to choose also, or when we're going to say final answer.
Well, they do like you to talk it out, Donald. They do like, the audience likes it when you talk it out.
We're going to talk it out, bro.
Yeah.
We're going to talk it all out.
Are you nervous? I'm very nervous.
I'm very nervous.
I want to give $1 million to our charities.
I would like that too. I'm very afraid that we go out really early.
I know, Neil Flynn. Oh, I didn't finish saying that Neil Flynn, as you all know, played the janitor. I remembered was very good at trivia. And I think he was the kind of guy who did the New York Times crossword puzzle every day. And he just seemed wise and good at this kind of thing. So we asked him to be our phone a friend. So when we do Millionaire, Neil is going to, and he said yes, so he's going to be our phone a friend.
Although I will say, when we
Donald wanted to, yeah, go ahead.
Although I did say, I will say, when we did Family Feud, his team didn't get one thing right, and he was the
right.
leader
But Family
of that
Feud's
team.
a different game.
That's
what did 100 people say?
I wanted Ken Jennings also.
Well, and we were asking the Millionaire
it didn't go
people.
My way.
Well, we were asking the Millionaire people, like, is it cheating if our phone a friend is Ken Jennings or Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Nope. And they said no,
well,
it's
all
not
for
cheating.
charities, so it's all good. Well, then I thought the fans would appreciate Neil more.
They will appreciate Neil more.
Yeah. And also Neil's good TV.
Neil's great TV.
He'll be on
and
the
so
phone.
are the other two also. Don't get it twisted.
No, but I'm saying that is, even though it's for charity, it feels cheating if our fucking phone friend is Ken Jennings. Do you think he would have said yes?
I disagree, homeboy.
Do you think he would have said yes?
Hell yeah. It's us, man. He listens to the podcast.
Well, I can't call Neil and be like, you've been replaced with Ken Jennings.
No, you wouldn't. We wouldn't diss Neil like that. We've already made our choice, but those would have been excellent choices as well.
All right, I love you. I'm going to see you on Saturday.
I cannot wait. I have been getting my steps in. Have you been getting your steps in?
Yeah, I have. I'm in New York City. It's very easy to get your steps in here.
It's so easy to get your steps in if you can find a place to walk, people. Listen, if you need to get your steps in, I know a way. Find a trail and walk that shit like 8 times.
You've been walking trails?
All I do is go to this college that's up the block from where I live, right? Mm-hmm. And I walk around it. And I walk around it twice, and I get 11,000 to 12,000 steps.
That's amazing, dude. You found a way.
I found a way.
That's great. In New York City, I just ride my bike and walk everywhere, and I get my 10,000 steps in.
Also, for those of you out there, this is going to sound a little crude. It's going to sound a little crude. Jerking off helps with the steps also.
Oh, you keep your Oura ring on when you masturbate?
Absolutely, because then the steps. It's steps.
Well, it's not steps. It's sort of cheating.
This is steps.
Then you're getting
this
lotion.
Is steps.
Then you're getting lotion all over your...
This is steps. Huh?
What about when you're having intercourse? Do you keep your Oura ring on?
Yeah, because my heart rate gets up, and that's an activity.
Yeah, the Oura ring will tell you, it looks like you've been fucking. And
it doesn't say it looks like you've been fucking. Yes. It looks like your activity level has jumped.
No, mine must have a new update because it says it appears you have been fucking, and then you click yes or no. And sometimes you were just on a walk, so you're like, oh no, I wish I was fucking. I was just walking, but okay. You have to hit that. You click out the X. You X out the fucking.
Dude, I got to tell you, man.
Go ahead.
Miss you. I miss seeing your face. I want to know about you. I want to know who you're dating.
I'm going to see you. I'm going to see you Thursday for our secret project, and I'm going to see you Saturday at Krista's birthday party. Audience, thank you for tuning in. We love you. We hope you learned something about knee surgery and about how Donald masturbates with his Oura ring on. 5, 6, 7,
Here's some stories about